Okay, so this is still factoring quadratics, but this is day 2. So we're going to look at it when our a value is bigger than 1, okay? So we're still following the same steps. On Schoology, you can find a PDF of our steps. Kind of looks like this. We're still following this, whereas before we were skipping step 6 because our a value was 1, but now we're going to have to implement step 6. All right, so our first step here, let me get in on this question. So example 1. All right, so still start by opening up 2 sets of parentheses, put an x in each one. All right, so now we take our a times our c. So 3 times 12 gives me 36. Now, whereas the other day when we were doing this, this was always 1, so we were just using basically the c value. Now we actually have a product here. So we need to find factors of 36. So I have 1 times 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9, 6 and 6. So we still follow the same pattern here, except for we're using 36. I want to find factors of 36 that subtract to get 9. So factors of 36 that subtract to get 9. So if I look over here, 3 and 12 are going to fit that for us. So the bigger number goes first. Same process, first sign comes straight down. Because the first sign is plus, you're going to keep the second sign. All right, now this is normally where we would just say, okay, then x plus 12 equals 0, and go ahead and solve. But we got some help from our a value to come up with factors, right? So we multiplied to put that in. We multiplied 3 and 12. So now we're done with a. A's done all the help it can do, so now we need to get rid of it. So to get rid of it, or to take out x, we're going to divide. So this is where we're going to divide by our a value. Okay, it's really, really important that it's the a value, this number right here out in front of your x squared term. So then 12 divided by 3 gives me 4. And then 3 divided by 3 is going to be 1. Now it's back to like our normal. So x plus 4 equals 0, and x minus 1 equals 0. So we have x equals negative 4, and x equals positive 1. And those are your 2 solutions. Okay, so that's the most basic way of doing this. These are going to be the easiest ones. So as we go through the examples 1, 2, 3, and 4, they're all different types. Still using the same method, but they're going to look a little different. So on example 2, so we're going to go through and we're going to open up 2 sets of parentheses, x, a times c. Oh, wow, look at this. We end up with 300. Now that's a really large number to find all of the factors from. And quite frankly, I don't really want to find all of those factors. So instead, what I'm going to do, if I get a really giant number here, I'm going to stop for a second. I'm going to look. I have 5, 20, and 60, ignoring the signs. So 5, 20, and 60. What can I divide evenly into all of those terms? Yep, we can divide by 5. So I'm going to divide everything by 5. So like when we have 3, 6, and we simplify it to 1/2, I'm going to simplify this equation a little bit to make it easier. So I'm dividing by 5. So I'm going to pull the 5 on the outside. So if I take 5x squared divided by 5, I'm left with x squared. Negative 20 divided by 5 would be negative 4x. And negative 60 divided by 5 is negative 12. Now we can see, even though we started the equation with our a value greater than 1, we factored out or divided out a 5 out of all 3 terms to get this. Now this 5 out here, we're basically going to ignore. So now we're just looking here, open up 2 sets of parentheses. We're looking for factors of 12 that subtract to give us 4, so that's 6 and 2. First sign comes straight down. Because the first sign is a minus, we have to flip the second sign. And again, this 5 is just kind of floating there out in front. But we don't have to worry about it when we're trying to find or trying to solve. So then we have x minus 6 equals 0, x plus 2 equals 0, and we get 6 and negative 2. So on this particular problem, it started off with having an a value greater than 1, but then once we simplified it, then it went back to our old way of doing it. okay? And that will happen sometimes. A lot of times when you take your A times your C and you get some really large number, you might want to look for that. Now, if you wanted to find all the factors of 300 and continue on from there, you absolutely could, and you would still get the same answers. All right, example number 3. Okay, so we're going to open up 2 sets of parentheses. X goes first in each. A times C. So that gives me 10. So I'm looking for factors of 10 that are going to subtract to give me 3. Okay, now remember, the way I list my factors over here does not matter. If I were to reverse this and make it 5 times 2, it's the same thing. So this set is going to give us our 3. So bigger number first. First sign comes straight down. Second sign is going to stay the same since the first one was plus. And now we divide by our A value. Okay. Now on this one, if we take a look, so this does not divide evenly, right? So 5 divided by 2 gives us 2.5. So it does not divide evenly. And can I simplify this? Meaning, is there anything that I can divide by 5 and divide by 2? No, there's not. So what we're going to do here, if it doesn't divide evenly and you can't simplify, you're going to take this 2, this denominator, and we're going to push it in front of the x, because I don't want fractions here. Right? We can't have fractions in here with our x, so we got to get rid of it. So to get rid of it, I'm going to take the denominator and pull it to the front. So now I have 2x plus 5. So again, all I did was just move that up there. If I look at this one, 2 divided by 2, that does divide evenly. So I'm just going to go ahead and divide that. And now we go through the same process. We're going to set each of these to equal 0. So subtract 5 from both sides. So then I would have 2x equals negative 5. Divide by 2. And I get x equals negative 5 over 2. And then for this one, x minus 1 equals 0. Add 1 to both sides, and we would get x equals 1. Now, what you'll find is that when you factor with your A value greater than 1, a lot of times we get fractions for answers. And that's okay. And we leave it in fraction form. Do not change that to a decimal at all. Leave it like it is. All right, let's look at example 4. All right, so on example 4, we're going to do the same setup. Open up 2 sets of parentheses. 8 times 5 gives us 40. So we have x, sorry, I forgot that. So we're looking for factors of 40. So 1 times 40, 2 times 20, 4 times 10, and 5 times 8. So we're looking for factors of 40 that add to give us 22. Factors of 40 that add to give us 22. So that's going to be 2 and 20. Bigger number goes first. First sign comes straight down, so this is minus. Because the first sign is minus, we have to flip the second sign. So that is also minus. And now we have to divide by our A value. Okay? That is the most commonly missed step, is dividing by or forgetting to divide by the A. So you got to remember that. All right, 20 divided by 8. Well, that does not divide evenly. However, I can simplify that. So I can divide both 20 and 8 by 4. So 20 divided by 4 gives me 5. 8 divided by 4 gives me 2. And then over here, 2 8s, I can divide both of those by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Now, we said over here that we don't ever want fractions in with our x. Okay, so I can't leave these to be fractions. So we're going to pull ahead. All right, so this is 2x minus 5, and this is 4x minus 1. Now, these are the factors, meaning if I take this times this, I'm going to get this. All right? So these are our factors. You got to understand what the factors are. So now I set these equal to 0. So then we would add 5 to both sides. 2x equals 5, divide by 2, and we're going to get that x equals 5 over 2. Here, add 1 to both sides and divide by 4. and we get x equals 1/4. All right, now you might be saying, well, wait a minute, Miss Carlock, right up here, we had those, right? I could just flip the sign and make that a positive 5/2, and I could just flip this sign and make that a positive 1/4, and those are my answers. Why do I need to do this step? Like, why do I need to do all this work? So here's the thing. You need to know that these are the factors, not these. These are not factors, because if I were to FOIL this, I would not get this at all, not even close. Okay, so factors have to multiply together to give us back to our original. So yes, these are the factors, but are they absolutely 100% necessary in order to solve? No. So if you jump from this step to your answers, that's okay. All right, I want to jump down to number 3 real quick, and we're going to do number 3. So something I just want to point out is that sometimes when you get a number, you might get more than one factor that you think could work. All right, let me show you. So open up 2 sets of parentheses. X goes first in each one. A times C is 30. So we're looking for factors of 30. All right, there's all my factors of 30. And what do I want? What am I trying to do? What am I trying to get to, and how am I trying to get to there? So I'm trying to get to 13, and I got to subtract to get there. So factors of 30, I subtract to give me 13. Now, it's really tempting to go for this 3 and 10, right? Because 3 plus 10 gives me 13. However, this is telling me I have to subtract to get 13, not add. So you have to be really, really careful. We actually want to use 2 and 15. Okay, so you got to be really paying attention to this sign right here. That is so, so important. Okay, first sign comes straight down. Second sign's going to stay since the first is plus. Divide by our a value. So I have x plus 5. This cannot be simplified, nor can it divide evenly, so I'm just going to pull it ahead. 3x minus 2. Set each one to equal 0. So from here, we know this is x equals -5. For this one, I look back up here. This was a minus 2/3, so my answer is going to be a positive 2/3. So I flip the sign there. Remember we talked about flipping anytime you come out of a parentheses. All right, if you have any questions, please message me and let me know. Thanks, guys.